You're educated, you're disciplined, you're successful. You work hard at your life, and it shows. And yet, you drink in ways that worry you. When you hear the word alcoholic, it feels like it's describing someone else entirely, someone weaker, someone out of control, someone who has given up, someone else, not you. So you keep trying hard to get a handle on it. But what if the label itself is the problem? What if rebranding this condition could open the door to treatment for people who would never accept the word alcoholism? Could a new and improved alcoholism, say Alcoholism 2.0, save your life? But this isn't really a video about marketing. It's about history, science, and saving people from a potentially fatal disease. I'm Dr. Donald Crowe. I practiced emergency medicine for 40 years, and I've seen this exact scenario play out countless times. In boardrooms and in break rooms, in quiet suburban kitchens, and in the chaos of the emergency department. I know it personally, too. 28 years ago, I drank every night, vowing every morning that today would be different, only to break that promise by 4 p.m. And I knew I wasn't an alcoholic, at least not in the way I pictured it. I had none of the poverty, homelessness, or extreme chaos I associated with the term until the consequences caught up to me. I found myself in treatment with a bunch of alcoholics. But in treatment, I realized I was surrounded by doctors, lawyers, airline pilots, executives, the most disciplined people you could imagine. And yet, just like me, they couldn't control their drinking. That's when I started to see the gap. On the one side, the cultural stereotype of the alcoholic, weak, lacking willpower. On the other, highly capable people motivated to change, but failing again and again. Something wasn't adding up. I began to think, maybe this isn't about weakness after all. Maybe it's about how the brain is wired. And maybe the word alcoholism itself was shutting people out from getting help. This wouldn't be the first time medicine had a branding problem. After World War I, soldiers came home with shell shock. It was seen as cowardice, weakness. After World War II, it became known as battle fatigue, and thousands came home carrying this label, still implying a personal failing. But among them was Audie Murphy, America's most decorated war hero. The Medal of Honor, among dozens of other awards for bravery, had been presented to him. His courage and discipline could not be questioned. And yet, throughout his life, he suffered because of his battlefield experience. A tremendous gap in this condition seemed to exist as well. It wasn't until 1980 that medicine officially recognized post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, as a treatable medical condition. By then, we had better technology and could detect measurable changes in the brain and body that accompanied the recognizable pattern of signs and symptoms that a certain percentage of people exposed to severe trauma developed. This justified the application of a new and more specific diagnostic label. That shift in language changed everything. Suddenly, people could seek treatment without the shame of being too weak to cope. Alcohol works the same way. We now know it causes measurable changes in the brain and body that our newer technology identifies as clearly different in some individuals than others. In particular, alcohol hits the part of your brain responsible for inhibition. Think of it as the regulating or braking system in the brain. Booze sabotages that part of it, your prefrontal cortex, and ties its hands. And here's how. It floods your brain with GABA, the chill chemical, while blocking glutamate, the stay sharp signal. Also, it lowers the oxygen and glucose supply, starving your brain's control center. Over time, it can even shrink the gray matter in that area. For most people exposed to alcohol, the brakes continue to function, and any damage quickly resolves after drinking. But for some, about 20%, the off switch is so degraded by alcohol that it fails to regulate further use even when that use becomes ill-advised or dangerous. Also, in these individuals, recovery to normal function is slow, leading to further problems. This impaired ability to regulate intoxicant use can be called disinhibition. Whether it's genetic or acquired, science shows measurable biochemical and structural brain changes in these individuals. By every criteria, this is a medical condition. So here's my recommendation. Let's relegate the terms alcoholic and alcoholism to the dustbin of history. Let's call this medical condition what it actually is: chemically mediated disinhibition syndrome, CMDS. Chemically mediated, triggered by alcohol or another intoxicant. Disinhibition, the brain's braking system fails. And the syndrome is a predictable set of signs and symptoms, notably the struggle to control intoxicant use, the failure to do so, and the denial that it's even happening. This isn't about weakness. It's about biology. And like diabetes or high blood pressure, it's potentially deadly if left untreated. If we rebrand alcoholism as CMDS, people who would never accept the term alcoholic might finally see their problem for what it is: a medical condition, not a moral verdict. Rebranding PTSD opened the floodgates for treatment and saved lives. Rebranding alcoholism could do the same. I admit you won't find this term in medical textbooks yet. Medicine evolves slowly, but often begins when a gap is seen between a diagnostic term and how useful that diagnosis is to those given the label. For many who have already accepted the label alcoholic, a different name for their medical condition will matter little. But for those who do not accept that they are alcoholic, perhaps the term I have coined, chemically mediated disinhibition syndrome, will resonate with them and allow them a better understanding of what they're up against. If this message makes sense to you, or might help someone you know, share it. Talk about CMDS, because language shapes reality. And in this case, changing a few words could be the thing that saves a life. I'm Dr. Donald Crowe, and this is Second Act Sobriety. Subscribe, share, and join me as we look at alcohol and recovery through a clearer, more useful lens. And remember, giving up drinking doesn't mean giving up anything real. It means opening the door to the life you deserve. Check out these other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.